The battle for New York's high society is far from over. The glittering ballrooms may look beautiful, but behind every smile hides a secret, a betrayal, and a dangerous game of power. Season 4 of The Gilded Age is shaping up to be the most ruthless yet, where loyalty is bought, friendships are tested, and even family ties could snap under the weight of ambition. And when the stakes are this high, one wrong move could destroy everything. Season 4 begins with the city on edge. The old money families cling desperately to their traditions, while the new money titans fight to secure their place among the elite. At the center of it all is Bertha Russell, a woman who has already defied every rule of polite society, and now she's ready to rewrite them completely. Her ambition burns brighter than ever, but with every new alliance she forms, she makes an enemy just as powerful. George Russell, her husband, stands beside her like a fortress, but even he knows that in this war, influence and wealth may not be enough to protect them. Rumors swirl of a political scandal that could shake the foundations of the city's leadership. George is determined to crush his rivals before they can make their move, but there's one problem. Someone close to him may be feeding information to the enemy. As whispers of betrayal spread, trust becomes a rare luxury. Every handshake hides a dagger, and every invitation to dinner could be the first step into a carefully laid trap. Meanwhile, across town, the Van Ryn household feels the ripple effects of the Russells' rise. Agnes remains a pillar of the old ways, refusing to bow to Bertha's influence, but her hold over the social world is weakening. Marian, ever caught between tradition and change, finds herself drawn into Bertha's orbit despite knowing it could cost her dearly. And as the city's most prestigious events unfold, everyone knows one truth: by the end of the season, someone will fall from grace, and the world they know will never be the same. The air in New York's upper circles is thick with whispers, names traded in hushed tones, alliances shifting like sand beneath the waves. Bertha Russell, now holding the keys to the city's most exclusive doors, isn't satisfied with just being included. She wants to own the entire stage. Her latest move? Securing a place at the head of the prestigious charity ball, an event historically controlled by the old guard. But her victory comes at a cost. Every step she takes forward fuels the resentment of Agnes and her allies, who see Bertha as a social invader daring to dismantle the traditions they've guarded for generations. George, meanwhile, is fighting his own battles in the world of steel, railroads, and politics. A quiet but dangerous competitor is emerging, someone who isn't fighting him head-on, but working in the shadows to undermine his empire. Documents go missing, deals fall apart, and key partners suddenly turn cold. George suspects an inside betrayal, but every lead points to someone different. The paranoia begins to seep into his marriage, leaving Bertha questioning whether they're truly untouchable. While the elite scheme for dominance, a quieter, more personal drama is brewing. Marian's heart is once again in turmoil. Torn between a suitor from her own class and a man with no fortune but a fierce sense of independence, she finds herself at a crossroads that could define her future. But love in the Gilded Age isn't simple. It's a currency, and those who fail to play by the rules often end up paying the highest price. And in the servants' quarters, where gossip flows faster than champagne at a ball, secrets take on a dangerous life of their own. One overheard conversation in the Russell household could set off a chain of events that shakes the very foundations of their power. Those at the top believe they control the game, but as the season unfolds, it becomes clear. Sometimes, the most dangerous players are the ones no one sees coming. The cracks in the Russells' empire begin to widen, not from public scandal, but from the kind of betrayal that creeps in silently. George's investigation into the sabotage of his business uncovers an unsettling truth. One of his most trusted executives has been feeding information to his rival. But before George can confront him, the man vanishes overnight, leaving behind a trail of coded letters and half-burned documents. Each clue points towards something much bigger than corporate espionage, an orchestrated attack designed to bring George to his knees both financially and socially. Bertha senses the storm brewing and decides to act before it reaches their doorstep. She begins hosting a series of carefully crafted soirees, inviting potential allies and rivals alike, masking her interrogation as polite conversation. But the higher she climbs, the more dangerous the air becomes. At one such gathering, she catches a fragment of a conversation, her name, spoken with venom, followed by the phrase, "when the time is right." The words lodge in her mind like a splinter, haunting her every move. Meanwhile, Marian's love life takes a darker turn. The man she thought she could trust begins showing signs of hidden motives, and whispers circulate that he's connected to George's business rival. Is her romance genuine, or is she being used as a pawn in a larger game? The more she digs, the more she realizes that the heartache she fears may be the least of her problems. In the midst of it all, Peggy faces her own dangerous choice. Her career as a journalist brings her into possession of information that could expose corruption at the highest levels of society, including people she knows personally. Printing the truth could make her career but destroy lives, including her own safety. Keeping it buried would protect her friends, but at the cost of her integrity. As the season deepens, loyalties blur, alliances shift, and the line between friend and enemy becomes nearly impossible to see. One thing is certain: when betrayal is this deeply rooted, the fallout will be explosive. The air in New York feels charged, as if everyone can sense that something monumental is about to break. Bertha's social victories begin to unravel when an anonymous letter arrives at her home, sealed with a wax stamp she doesn't recognize. The message inside is short, almost taunting. Your crown was borrowed, not earned. Soon, it will be taken back. The handwriting is elegant, deliberate, a sign this is no idle threat. She hides the letter from George, determined to solve the mystery herself, but in doing so, she steps deeper into a game she doesn't fully understand. George, meanwhile, faces a calculated strike against his empire. Stocks tied to his railroad begin plummeting overnight, not due to market forces, but because of coordinated rumors spread among investors. Each hour brings a new crisis, forcing him to make rapid decisions with incomplete information. Desperation drives him to consider an alliance with someone he spent years avoiding, a shadowy financier known for saving businesses at a steep personal cost. But every deal with this man ends the same way: the debtor becomes a puppet. In the Russell household, tension bleeds into every conversation. Marian confronts her suitor about his possible betrayal, but his answers are vague, slippery, and delivered with a charm that makes it impossible to know if he's lying. Her instincts scream that she's in danger, yet part of her still wants to believe in the man she thought she knew. Peggy's moral dilemma intensifies when she receives direct evidence linking the city's political elite to under-the-table deals that have ruined entire neighborhoods. Publishing the story would bring the truth to light, but could also implicate someone in Bertha's social circle, someone Bertha depends on for her current standing. Peggy finds herself avoiding Bertha, unsure how to choose between friendship and truth. As whispers of scandal grow louder, invitations to the Russells' events begin to dry up. People sense weakness, and in this city, weakness is the first step towards social exile. Bertha feels the walls closing in, and George is running out of time to save his empire. The two have always been strong apart, but now they must decide if they can fight this war together, or if secrets will tear them apart before the final battle begins. The night of the highly anticipated Winter Charity Gala arrives, an event Bertha has orchestrated to remind the city of her dominance. Every chandelier sparkles, every table overflows with luxury, and every guest is dressed to outshine the next. Bertha wears a gown imported from Paris, a statement meant to silence her critics. Yet beneath the glittering surface, danger coils like a snake in the shadows. She knows this night will decide whether she remains the queen of New York society or is cast aside forever. The first blow comes quietly. A guest she never invited arrives, escorted by an influential duchess who refuses to meet Bertha's eye. The man is none other than the shadowy financier George considered partnering with, a signal to everyone present that her family's financial stability is in question. The rumors she hoped to contain now ripple through the ballroom like wildfire. Conversations pause when she passes, glances are exchanged, smiles turn brittle. In another corner of the gala, Marian makes her own stand. She publicly calls out her suitor for deceiving her, her voice carrying across the dance floor. The confrontation is brief but devastating. Her suitor's mask slips, revealing a bitter, calculating man who storms out without a word. Marian is left shaken but resolute, no longer willing to trade her future for illusions. Peggy arrives late, a rolled-up manuscript clutched in her hand. She doesn't mingle, doesn't smile. She heads straight for Bertha. In a low, trembling voice, she tells her about the corruption scandal, about the names involved, and about the fact that Bertha's closest ally is at the center of it all. The truth is a knife, and it cuts deep. Bertha's first instinct is to deny it, to accuse Peggy of betrayal, but then she sees the evidence for herself. George arrives at Bertha's side just as chaos erupts. An aide whispers in his ear, and his expression hardens. His last line of defense in the market has collapsed. The family fortune is now at the mercy of forces he cannot control. Across the room, the shadowy financier watches, his thin smile offering no comfort, only promise of a deal that will cost more than money. By midnight, the gala is no longer a celebration but a silent battlefield. Bertha and George stand together, but for the first time, they both know they might lose everything. The season closes with the two exchanging a look, defiance mixed with fear, as the music swells and the city's elite close in. Outside, the snow falls softly on Fifth Avenue, covering the tracks of the predators who have been circling all along. The Gilded Age has always been about power, but in this moment, it becomes something darker, survival. And as the curtain falls, one question lingers. When the dust settles, who will still be standing?